Most people think the biggest IPO ever would come from a company making absurd profits. Instead, it might come from a company losing billions every single year. Right now, Elon Musk is preparing what could become the largest public offering in financial history. At a rumored valuation of nearly $1.75 trillion, SpaceX would instantly become more valuable than entire industries, bigger than every major American defense contractor combined, bigger than companies like Coca-Cola, Disney, Nike, McDonald's, and Starbucks put together, even bigger than the largest corporations trading on the London Stock Exchange combined. And if you're wondering who could possibly buy into a company this expensive while it's still burning cash, the answer is probably you, because the moment SpaceX enters the market, retirement funds, index funds, ETFs, and passive investment accounts are likely going to start purchasing the stock automatically, whether investors actually want it or not. And that's where this story becomes way bigger than rockets. Because recently, Nasdaq introduced a new set of rules that quietly changed how massive companies can enter stock indexes. And the timing is interesting. But before we get into those rule changes, we need to understand what SpaceX actually is, because most people completely misunderstand this company. Ask random people what SpaceX does, and most will say they build rockets. Others will say they're trying to go to Mars. Neither answer is really correct. SpaceX today is actually 3 separate businesses operating under one roof. And, surprisingly, the rocket business isn't even the most important one anymore. There's the flashy side, the profitable side. And then there's the part that looks extremely questionable. And honestly, that last part gets pretty ugly. So let's start there. The newest piece of the SpaceX empire is xAI. Most people know it because of Elon Musk's social media platform, formerly Twitter, now called X, and the artificial intelligence company created to compete against firms like OpenAI and Anthropic. A few months ago, SpaceX merged with xAI through an all-stock transaction that valued the combined entity at roughly $1.25 trillion. Out of that total, xAI alone was assigned a valuation around $250 billion, which raises a pretty obvious question. How does one Elon Musk company buy another Elon Musk company using stock created by another Elon Musk company? Honestly, good question. But the deal happened anyway. Now, if a company is supposedly worth $250 billion, you'd assume the business fundamentals are at least somewhat stable, but xAI has problems everywhere. The company originally launched with an elite team of engineers and researchers from places like OpenAI, DeepMind, Google, and top universities. On paper, it looked unstoppable. But by 2025, reports suggested the company was burning through more than $1 billion every month, and eventually, every original co-founder left, all of them. Even Elon later admitted publicly that the company essentially needed to be rebuilt from the ground up, which is corporate language for "this thing is broken." And financially, the numbers make even less sense. OpenAI reportedly generates tens of billions in annual revenue and carries a valuation around $850 billion. Anthropic also generates massive revenue while sitting at a valuation far below OpenAI. Meanwhile, xAI reportedly generates only a fraction of that revenue, yet somehow still received a $250 billion valuation. It's like pricing a budget airline as if it owns the global aviation industry. Instead of producing cash, xAI currently looks more like a machine designed to consume it. But xAI is only one part of the overall business. Now let's talk about the side everyone actually recognizes, the rockets. This is the public face of SpaceX: satellite launches, NASA missions, cargo deliveries, military contracts, astronaut transportation. This is the part people imagine whenever they hear the company name. And to be fair, it's impressive. The company completely changed the economics of space launches, but financially, the rocket business is much smaller than most people realize. Last year, launch operations reportedly generated only a few $1 billion in revenue, which sounds huge. until you compare it against a valuation approaching $2 trillion. And even more surprising, the rocket division represented only a minority of SpaceX's total business, because the real powerhouse inside the company is something else entirely. Starlink. This is the actual engine driving SpaceX. Starlink is essentially global internet delivered from orbit. Thousands of satellites floating above Earth communicate with small receiver dishes sitting on rooftops all over the world. And somehow, it works shockingly well. In just a few years, Starlink became one of the fastest-growing telecom businesses ever created. Millions of users across more than 100 countries now rely on it. Airlines use it. Ships use it. Remote areas use it. Military systems use specialized versions of it. And unlike many tech businesses, Starlink actually makes serious money. Revenue exploded over the last few years, but the really important part is profitability. Margins improved dramatically in an extremely short period of time. That means the business isn't just growing. It's becoming more efficient while it grows. And that's rare. This is the reason investors are so obsessed with SpaceX. Not rockets, not Mars, not science fiction dreams. It's internet infrastructure. Starlink became the financial backbone supporting everything else. So when you strip away the hype, the modern version of SpaceX looks something like this: a highly profitable satellite internet business, a solid but comparatively smaller rocket division, and an AI company losing absurd amounts of money. Combined together, the overall company reportedly still lost nearly $5 billion last year, despite generating massive revenue. Which brings us back to the original question: who's actually buying this thing at a $1.75 trillion valuation? And the answer again is regular investors, passive investors, retirement accounts, index funds. Because recently, Nasdaq introduced something called the fast entry rule, and this is where the story shifts from technology into financial engineering. Traditionally, when a company went public, it had to wait several months before entering major indexes like the Nasdaq 100. That waiting period existed for a reason. It allowed the market to naturally discover the company's real price before index funds were forced to buy shares. But the new rules shortened that timeline dramatically. Instead of waiting months, a company can potentially enter within weeks, meaning automatic buying pressure arrives much faster. But that wasn't the only change. Previously, companies also needed a larger percentage of shares publicly available for trading, known as free float, to qualify for index inclusion. Under older standards, SpaceX likely wouldn't have qualified. Under the updated standards, now it potentially can. And then there's the strangest part. Nasdaq reportedly introduced adjustments that effectively treat low-float companies as if more shares are available than actually exist. In simple terms, the market demand gets amplified artificially. So let's summarize what happened here. The rules changed, the waiting period shrank, float requirements loosened, and passive investment demand can now arrive faster and stronger than before. All right before one of the largest IPOs ever attempted. And it doesn't stop with SpaceX. Other giant AI companies are also rumored to be preparing public listings, meaning these rule changes may not have been designed for one company alone. They may have been designed for an entire generation of mega-tech IPOs. Now here's the really important part. SpaceX reportedly plans to allocate an unusually large portion of shares directly toward retail investors, far larger than typical IPOs. And executives openly acknowledged that retail investors, especially loyal Elon followers, are considered a major part of the strategy. Translated into plain English, a massive amount of stock may end up in the hands of ordinary investors at extremely high valuations, while insiders who bought in early hold the cheapest shares. And that creates a dangerous dynamic, because in these situations, buyers usually arrive first, sellers arrive later, and historically, that's not always a good sign. One portfolio manager described it perfectly. Your retirement account becomes the exit liquidity, because if your savings are sitting inside index funds, there's a good chance you'll own SpaceX shortly after it goes public, whether you consciously choose to or not. That's how passive investing works. The system buys whatever enters the index, automatically, no questions asked. And that's the uncomfortable reality most people never hear about passive investing. Yes, it's cheap. Yes, it's simple. Yes, diversification is powerful, but the exact mechanism that makes passive investing convenient also guarantees demand for any company that successfully squeezes into those indexes. And right now, one of the most expensive companies in history appears ready to do exactly that. So, this story isn't really about rockets. It's about how modern financial markets create demand, how rules quietly change behind the scenes, and how ordinary investors often become participants long before they fully understand what they're buying. That's the real SpaceX story.